You probably shower so often that it feels less like a survival skill and more like a reset button. You wake up sweaty. Your hair feels wrong. Your armpits start sending little warning messages. So you step into a bathroom, turn a handle, and warm, clean water falls from the wall like magic. Soap, shampoo, towel, deodorant. Done. Now, take all of that away. No shower, no bathroom, no clean towel, no bottle of soap, no private room, no guaranteed warm water. So here is the question. Did ancient humans bathe every day? The short answer is, usually, no. Most ancient humans probably did not take a full body bath every single day, the way many people do now. But that does not mean they lived in permanent filth. They cleaned themselves by need, not by schedule. In warm places near safe water, they may have rinsed, waded, or swum very often, sometimes perhaps daily in certain seasons. In cold, dry, dangerous, or mobile environments, full-body bathing was probably much less frequent. But partial cleaning could happen all the time. Hands, face, feet, hair, wounds, children, tools, and skin covered in blood, mud, sweat, or insects. So the real answer is not, yes, they bathed every day, or no, they never washed. It is this. Ancient humans probably did not bathe daily as a rule, but they cleaned themselves whenever survival made it necessary. The common belief is easy to imagine. Ancient humans must have been dirty, sweaty, and constantly smelly. But that belief misses the point. Because for ancient humans, bathing was not about smelling fresh before work, feeling confident on a date, or pretending your shampoo smells like a forest that has never existed. It was about survival. Water could be freezing. Rivers could be dangerous. Wet skin could steal body heat. But dirt, blood, parasites, insects, and infected wounds could also become serious problems. So, the real question is not just whether ancient humans bathed every day. It is how they stayed clean enough to survive when every wash cost warmth, energy, safety, and time. The hard part is that bathing does not fossilize. Archaeologists do not usually find a Stone Age bathroom with a sign saying, "Morning shower area." Skin decays, water disappears, daily habits vanish. So researchers have to read indirect clues. Camps near rivers and lakes, where marks on scraping tools, traces of ochre and animal fat, ancient comb-like objects, signs of parasites, and comparisons with recent hunter-gatherer societies who lived without modern plumbing. Those clues do not suggest that ancient people were careless. They suggest something more interesting. Ancient humans probably cleaned themselves often, but not always by bathing the way we mean it today. Cleaning could mean rinsing hands in a stream before handling food. It could mean wiping skin with leaves, moss, grass, or animal hide. It could mean scraping mud from the body with stone, bone, or shell. It could mean combing hair to remove lice, rubbing skin with sand or ash, using smoke to repel insects, or coating the body with fat and ochre to protect against sun, wind, cold, and biting pests. Basically, clean did not mean smelling like a hotel lobby. Clean meant the body could keep working. And we have to be careful with the phrase ancient humans because it covers an enormous range of lives. A group of Ice Age hunter-gatherers in Europe, wrapped in fur during freezing winds, faced a very different bathing problem than early Homo sapiens living near warm African wetlands. Coastal foragers with daily access to shorelines, shellfish, and tidal pools had different options from desert groups who had to treat every mouthful of water as precious. Neanderthals living through cold seasons, tropical forest communities dealing with insects and humidity, and later early farming villages surrounded by mud, livestock, and stored waste all lived under different rules. So, did ancient humans bathe every day? In some places, at some times, rinsing in water may have been frequent, maybe even daily during warm seasons near safe water. But in other places, a full body wash could have been uncomfortable, risky, or dangerous. Cold water can steal heat fast. Wet hair and damp hides can become a serious problem in freezing weather. A trip to the river might expose someone to predators, slippery rocks, deep currents, or rival groups. And if clean water was far away, carrying it back meant spending energy that could have gone toward food, shelter, firewood, or children. So before we ask whether ancient humans bathed every day, we have to step away from the bathroom mirror and into the landscape they actually inhabited. Because the first ingredient in any bath was not soap, it was water. And water was never just water. Water drew ancient people the way roads and power lines draw us today. If you look at where humans camped, migrated, hunted, and built their first lasting settlements, water is almost always nearby. Rivers bending through grasslands, springs bubbling from rock, lakes full of fish, wetlands alive with birds, coasts rich with shellfish and seaweed. Water meant life in every direction. It meant something to drink. It meant animals coming to drink. It meant reeds for weaving, clay for shaping, fish traps, edible plants, and routes through the landscape, long before paved roads existed. So, at first it seems obvious. If people lived near water, why wouldn't they bathe all the time? But for most of human history, water was not a bathroom. It was a survival engine. The same stream that could rinse mud from your legs also had to keep children alive, soften hides, cook food, wash blood from tools, mix pigments, cool hot stones, and help people track the movements of animals. Every use competed with another, and unlike turning a tap, using water required being in the right place at the right time with enough safety and energy to spare. In warm climates, contact with water may have been frequent and ordinary. In tropical forests, river valleys, coastal shallows, and subtropical wetlands, people sweating under heat, bitten by insects, smeared with mud, plant sap, fish slime, or animal blood would have had good reasons to wade in, rinse off, or swim. A shallow pool could be relief. A stream could cool the skin and reduce irritation. Children may have played in water. Adults gathering shellfish or setting fish traps may have ended the day half-washed without planning to bathe at all. That matters, because it means some ancient humans may have touched water constantly. But touching water is not the same as having a daily bathing routine. A person could rinse, swim, wade, splash, wash hands, clean wounds, or cool the body without thinking, "This is my 7 a.m. hygiene schedule." Ancient life did not run on bathroom habits. It ran on need. Now, move that same human body into Ice Age Europe, a cold northern steppe, or a windy mountain valley, and the calculation changes completely. There, stripping down was not refreshing. It could be dangerous. Wet skin loses heat fast. Wet hair can chill the body. Wet clothing or damp hides could become heavy, stiff, and life-threatening. A full body soak in cold weather meant spending precious calories to warm up again, staying close to fire, and possibly losing the ability to move quickly if something went wrong. In a world without heated rooms, dry towels, spare clothes, or guaranteed shelter, cleanliness had to negotiate with body temperature. Modern people can take a hot shower in winter because the bathroom is warm, the towel is dry, and the house is not trying to kill them. Ancient people did not have that deal. For them, washing too much at the wrong time could create a new problem. Mobility made the problem even sharper. Many ancient groups were not living beside one permanent bathable river all year. They moved with seasons, animals, fruiting plants, and weather. They crossed dry ground. They camped where water was available, then left when food or game shifted elsewhere. Carrying water was difficult and limited. A skin bag, gourd, bark container, or woven vessel might be precious, but it was not a bathtub. Water carried from a stream had to justify the effort. And effort mattered. A daily full body wash sounds simple to a modern person because modern plumbing hides the labor. For a small band, hauling water, heating it, finding privacy, drying the body, and protecting warmth could steal time from hunting, gathering, feeding children, tending fires, repairing spear points, scraping hides, watching the horizon, or sleeping while there was still a chance to rest. Survival has its own economy. The body asks, "What will this cost me?" before it asks, "Would this feel nice?" There was also danger at the water's edge. Rivers and lakes were not quiet tiled rooms. They were crowded ecological meeting places. Animals came there. Predators knew it. In some regions, crocodilians waded in muddy shallows. Snakes moved through reeds. Insects bred in standing water. Banks could collapse or turn slick underfoot. Flood currents could pull a person away. Water could carry parasites or rot from upstream. And perhaps most dangerous of all, other human groups might be nearby for the same reason. Everyone needed water. So, a river was not a spa. Sometimes it was cold, slippery, dangerous, and full of things that did not respect personal boundaries. To bathe was to become vulnerable, hands occupied, weapons set aside, skin exposed, attention lowered, sound muffled by splashing. A person in the water is not ready to sprint, climb, fight, or shield a child. Even if ancient humans enjoyed water, they could not treat it casually everywhere. This is why the most realistic picture is not daily bathing as a universal rule, and not filth as a permanent condition. It is something more flexible, more human, and more tied to place. People probably rinsed when the opportunity made sense, while crossing rivers, fishing, collecting shellfish, cooling down in hot seasons, after butchering animals, after childbirth, after contact with blood or decay, or when lice, sweat, mud, and irritation became too much to ignore. In water-rich warm landscapes, regular rinsing may have been completely normal. In cold, dry, mobile, or dangerous environments, cleaning was more likely to be partial, strategic, and occasional. So water mattered deeply. But water did not automatically create a bathing culture like ours. For ancient humans, water was first a drink, a map, a hunting ground, a boundary, a danger, and a gift. Only sometimes, when the season, temperature, safety, and energy all lined up, did it become something closer to a bath. So how did ancient humans actually bathe? Sometimes, they simply went into water. A river, a lake, a spring, a shallow pool, near camp, a shoreline after gathering shellfish. They could rinse sweat from the skin, rub mud from the legs, wash blood from the hands, splash water over the face, or soak briefly when the weather was warm enough. But many times, bathing was not a full body wash. It was targeted cleaning. Hands before food, feet after travel, skin after mud, wounds after injury, hair when lice became a problem, children when dirt, insects, or irritation became too much. They did not always need a bath. They needed the body to keep working. But water was only one part of cleanliness. Long before soap bottles and shower heads, ancient humans had other ways to manage the body. They had tools, fire, plants, fat, minerals, and social habits that helped them stay comfortable, protected, and alive without anything we would recognize as a modern bathroom. For most of human existence, there was no neat divide between clean and unclean in the way many of us imagine it now. There was no bottle of body wash, no disinfectant scent, no fresh towel waiting beside a heated room. But that does not mean people simply accepted dirt, parasites, and discomfort as permanent facts of life. The human body complains when grit rubs the skin raw, when dried blood tightens over a cut, when lice crawl through hair, when smoke, sweat, and animal grease build up too heavily. So, if modern people use soap, shampoo, and body wash, what did ancient humans use? They used the landscape. Water did the first job, hands did the second. Fine sand could scrub the skin, ash could absorb grease, clay could pull oil and dirt from the surface, leaves, moss, bark fiber, grass, or animal hide could work like a rough towel. Smooth stones, bone edges, or shells could scrape away dried mud, blood, or residue. Certain plants contain natural foaming compounds called saponins, which can help lift oils in water. Animal fat did not clean like soap, but it could protect skin from wind, cold, and cracking. Ochre and clay could cover the skin, reduce irritation, and possibly help against sun and insects. So no, ancient humans were not squeezing shower gel onto a sponge, but they were using the world around them as a cleaning kit. And ancient people, like us, were problem solvers. Cleaning can be surprisingly low-tech. You can remove a lot from skin without soap at all. Rubbing with the hands, scraping gently with a smooth stone or a piece of bone, rinsing in a stream, brushing with grasses, wiping with moss, leaves, bark fiber, or animal hide. These are simple actions, but they work. Sand can scour away sticky residue. Fine ash can absorb grease and loosen grime. Dried mud or blood can be cracked and peeled from the skin with fingernails or a small tool. Even today, if you have ever cleaned your hands with dirt after handling something oily outdoors, you have used the same basic principle: friction, absorption, and repetition. Not glamorous, but effective. Hair, was another matter. And for ancient humans, hair was not just about appearance. Hair can trap warmth, but it can also trap trouble. Lice, fleas, ticks, and mites are not minor inconveniences when you live without antibiotics, sealed houses, or washing machines. They irritate the skin, steal sleep, open tiny wounds, and in some cases help spread disease. If your hair had lice, that was not a bad hair day. That was a sleep problem, a skin problem, and possibly a group problem. So grooming was survival work. We see this in other primates, and there is no reason to imagine ancient humans ignored it. People likely sat close together and picked through one another's hair, removing insects, eggs, thorns, burrs, and flakes of dried skin. This kind of care would have been practical, but also deeply social. A parent cleaning a child's scalp, a partner checking behind the ears, an elder having parasites removed by younger hands. These quiet moments may have reduced pests, soothed anxiety, and strengthened trust inside the group. Where tools existed, comb-like objects could help. Later prehistoric combs, needles, and fine-toothed implements show how precise grooming technology could become. Hair might also be cut shorter with stone blades, shell edges, or later metal tools. It may have been singed carefully near fire in some contexts. Clothing and hides could be shaken, scraped, smoked, dried, or hung away from sleeping places. Sleeping areas mattered too. Old bedding, damp skins, rotting plant material, and animal nests could attract pests. Keeping a camp livable meant managing the invisible ecology of fleas and mites as much as arranging firewood or storing food. So again, does this mean ancient humans bathed every day? Usually, no. It means they cleaned where the body demanded it most: hands, hair, wounds, feet, infants, bedding, hides, tools, the places where dirt stopped being harmless and started becoming a problem. And then there were substances that might look dirty to modern eyes but were useful. Animal fat, for example, could coat the skin against cold, wind, and dryness. In harsh climates, a greasy layer might be protection, not neglect. Ochre and clay, spread on the body, may have helped with sun exposure, insect irritation, skin comfort, and symbolic identity. Archaeologists have found ochre used by humans and human relatives across astonishing spans of time, suggesting it was more than decoration. It could mark belonging, ritual, beauty, protection, or all of these at once. So to modernize, a greasy or ochre-covered body might look dirty. But in an ancient survival context, that layer could be protection. Clean did not always mean bare skin. Sometimes, clean enough meant skin that was covered, sealed, soothed, and less likely to crack. Smoke also became part of the body's environment. Around fires, smoke clung to hair, hides, and skin. To us, that smell might signal dirt, but smoke can repel insects, dry damp materials, and slow decay. A smoke-scented cloak or hide might have been far more useful than one that smelled fresh in a modern sense. Ancient humans were not trying to smell like laundry detergent. They were trying not to be eaten by insects, frozen by wind, or weakened by infected skin. Ash, plants, and natural abrasives deserve careful treatment. Wood ash, mixed with fats, can become alkaline and, under the right conditions, soap-like. Some plants contain saponins, compounds that foam in water and help lift oils. But we should not imagine every prehistoric camp making soap in a neat, systematic way. The evidence for that is limited. What is far more likely is experimentation. Roots rubbed in water, leaves crushed between fingers, bark used as a scrub, clay smeared and rinsed off, ash used to dry grease or clean tools, hides, hair, or hands. In other words, they may not have had soap, but they had materials that could do some of the jobs soap does. Not perfectly. Not with a label that said refreshing mountain breeze, but well enough to solve real problems. Cleanliness, then, was not only a private habit. In small bands, people slept near one another, carried children, dressed wounds, butchered animals, cooked food, and noticed sickness quickly. A smell, a rash, a fever, a parasite outbreak, these were group concerns. Grooming someone was a way of saying, "You matter enough for my time." Keeping skin intact helped prevent infection. Keeping insects down helped everyone sleep. Keeping the body functional helped the band move, hunt, gather, and survive. So ancient humans did have a cleaning toolkit. It was not bottled, perfumed, or standardized. It was made of hands, water, fire, smoke, fat, clay, ash, plants, teeth, combs, sharp edges, and patient social care. But if ancient humans had ways to clean themselves, the next question becomes more precise. How often would they actually use them? And what counted as enough? So, how often did they bathe? There was no single answer. In warm, water-rich places, some ancient humans may have rinsed or entered water very often, maybe even daily in certain seasons. Not because they had a bathroom routine, but because water was nearby, the body was hot, and rinsing solved a real problem. In cold, dry, dangerous, or highly mobile environments, full-body bathing was probably much less frequent. Maybe days passed, maybe longer, but partial cleaning could happen far more often. A person might not bathe the whole body every day, but still wash hands, wipe the face, clean a wound, scrape mud from the legs, or check the hair for lice. So the answer is not yes, they bathed every day, or no, they never cleaned themselves. The better answer is this: they cleaned as often as survival demanded. So, did ancient humans really bathe every day? The most honest answer is probably not. Not in the way many of us imagine bathing now, as a daily full-body wash with warm water, soap, privacy, towels, drains, and a clean change of clothes waiting nearby. That kind of routine depends on an entire invisible world of infrastructure: pipes, fuel, stored water, manufactured soap, houses built to stay warm afterward. Time that does not have to be spent finding food, watching children, repairing tools, or moving camp. But the opposite picture is just as misleading. Ancient humans were not simply walking around in permanent filth, unaware of their own bodies. They were highly observant animals living close to skin, scent, wounds, weather, insects, and infection. They would have known when mud made walking harder, when blood attracted flies, when lice spread through hair, when a cut needed attention, when a child was uncomfortable, when a bad smell meant danger. Their cleanliness was not modern cleanliness, it was practical cleanliness. How often they washed depended on where they lived. In a hot, humid, water-rich landscape, entering water may have been common. A river, lake, spring, or shoreline offered more than cleanliness. It cooled the body. It rinsed away sweat. It eased heat stress. It helped remove insects, mud, plant residue, and the grime of travel. In some seasons, a person might have gone into water often, perhaps even daily, not because of a rule about hygiene, but because it felt good and solved immediate problems. If the water was close, safe, and not too cold, the body itself would have pulled people toward it. But in a cold steppe, a dry desert margin, a high mountain valley, or an ice age camp where water meant melted snow and precious calories, a full bath could be risky. Wet skin loses heat fast. Wet hair can chill the body. Removing too much skin oil in a freezing climate can leave skin cracked, painful, and vulnerable. In those places, washing was likely more targeted. Hands after butchering, faces crusted with smoke and dust, wounds, genitals, infants, feet, skin heavily soiled by blood, feces, clay, or plant sap. Cleaning may have been seasonal, partial, or tied to specific tasks, not a daily immersion. And then there is smell. Modern people often treat body odor as a personal failure because we live in a world of deodorants, detergents, synthetic fragrances, sealed rooms, washed fabrics, and constant scent control. But ancient smellscapes were different. Human scent was part of life. So were smoke, leather, damp hides, animal fat, crushed plants, earth, cooked meat, old ash, wet fur, and fermenting foods. The goal was not to smell like nothing. The important smells were the dangerous ones: rot, infection, spoiled meat, feces too close to camp, stagnant water, sickness in a wound, the sour change that told a careful nose something had gone wrong. Modern people clean for comfort. Ancient people cleaned when the body started creating consequences. In that world, cleanliness was a balance. Too little cleaning could mean parasites, rashes, infected scratches, social tension, and lost sleep. But too much bathing, in the wrong place at the wrong time, could also be dangerous. It could waste heat, waste energy, waste water, and expose a person to cold, predators, deep currents, or contaminated pools. The safest choice changed constantly. Weather mattered, season mattered, age mattered, pregnancy mattered, injury mattered. Whether the group was staying near a river or crossing dry country mattered. Whether food was plentiful or every calorie had to be guarded mattered. So ancient bathing was probably not a universal schedule. It was a decision. Picture someone crouched at the edge of a stream after a hunt, rubbing blood from their hands before returning to camp. Picture a parent wiping mud from a child's legs with wet grass and patient fingers. Picture two companions beside the fire, one parting the other's hair, searching for lice in the glow of embers. Picture a person stepping quickly into cold water beneath a vast prehistoric sky, gasping, rinsing, then hurrying back toward warmth and smoke. They may not have bathed every day, but they understood that the body had to be watched, protected, repaired, and kept alive. So did ancient humans bathe every day? Most of the time, probably not in the way we mean it. They did not live by a shower schedule. They cleaned by need. After blood, after mud, after heat, after insects, before touching food. When lice became a problem, when a wound needed care, when water was safe, close, and worth the cost. They were not modern bathroom people, but they were not helpless, filthy people either. They were survival experts, living inside their own skin, learning when to rinse, when to scrape, when to smoke, when to cover, and when to stay dry. For them, bathing was not a daily routine. It was a judgment call.